free trading and investing workshop right here in Boston. Inside this workshop, you'll learn.
What's happening, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. If you're tuning in now, I'm just going to get started. These here, I'm trying to get this little section here. Chipping away on one of my biggest pieces. This is the first canvas off the big canvas series that I'm doing. This one is called Dragon's Fight, and as you can see, this is quite the visual language that I've been developing. It has an influence of a few different schools in art, from abstract expressionism, to also me taking up calligraphy and getting into graffiti style, street art, parametric design, because I have a little bit of a history and background with architectural drawing, but this is like from my school days, so I'm not an architect or anything, but I do love architecture. So when I'm doing this stuff, I'm kind of thinking of these as like almost little buildings, little drawings, but then it's almost like a code, you know, because it's sort of emblematic to the times we're living, of algorithms and sequences and massive data centers and just civilization as a whole. So whenever I'm doing these, I'm thinking of it as almost like a secret language from the calligraphy, but also these are like little cities or little codes and sequences, however you want to look at it and see the things for what they are. But I love the city, so this is sort of like a combination of so many things. It's definitely a progression of all my interests and attraction towards art and design, visualizing something, conceiving something from nothing, and just in the plastic arts as a whole. So I feel like I'm dragging on here, but I'm always refining my pitch here whenever I do these these lives, because I do feel that art sometimes shouldn't be explained, but we should at the same time find ways to develop a way to contextualize the work we do, right? And although we have art critics and whatnot, we have the audience that should, in a way, build their own opinion about our work. But the artist, I guess the goal for you to try to explain what you're doing in words, it's mostly for yourself as much as it's agonizing, right? Because you just want to make. Um, but there's also a voice inside you that aches for a deeper connection, and words are a mechanism for that. The same way art is a mechanism to surface our feelings in ways that words can't. So I guess that's my TED talk for the day there. One of the particular reasons I'm loving this big canvas and embracing this much detail work into the piece is the fact that it makes you, as an artist, look closer into the canvas, and you start to see the entire grid within the canvas just through the dots of the texture of the surface. So you begin to see the lines sort of project itself on the canvas, you kind of connect the dots, you see the pattern evolving. And I think that's pretty cool. Sometimes you wouldn't get this impact unless you're this close. Imagine you're just lobbing paint from afar, or just, you know, you're aiming for something, but man, when you get this close to the canvas and you start to see the grid within the canvas, you see the infinite possibilities within the canvas itself. It's kind of trippy sometimes, because I'm like, I just want to sit here forever and see what can come out, see what can come out to the surface from something that was blank. As peaceful as a white canvas can be sometimes. We sort of ache for the future of what it could be. Sometimes not even necessarily for the element of surprise. It's just sheer curiosity. I think sometimes it's amazing. Such a unique force. And I think that's one of the segments actually from the live was me talking and going off about curiosity, how that's more important to the artist than being passionate or having talent, for that matter. Cultivating your sense of curiosity or the freedom to explore. I think it's the most important thing. Not only as a human being, for the creative arts board, that's a necessity, for sure. Because if you want to also rift off the segment of curiosity, right? If you want to extend it to something else, and talk about the idea of success to the artist. What is success? What defines success in art? Is it gallery exposure? Is it a solo show? To some, it's just simply doing this right here. For me, success is getting up And even if you have just 30 minutes,
including a
and
brand new edition
being able to sit down,
Here's the new iPhone 17, the groundbreaking iPhone Air, a completely new member to the
just being able to sit down and make the art, to me, is success. It's the hardest part. And yes, it's important for the viewer, it's important for the art itself, for the artist to hopefully one day build a reputation so the art can exist through time and not fade. But the art wouldn't exist if it wasn't conceived to begin with, right? So the logic behind the whole idea of what success is to an artist, really, it wouldn't start with the creation itself. So I think the 30 minutes that I get to do these lives is, to me, that's success. That's me watering my sense of curiosity, my commitment to not only art but my visual art, whatever this is that I think, that I feel is mine. Even though if you could do the research, it probably is connected to something way deeper, and there's probably artists who have done something like this already. You could sit there and find the connections if you really want to, but to me, there's a certain level of this progression that feels truly personal, where I put my time into this in one way or another. And there are certain artists that I can totally credit, just from the masters of abstraction, contemporary art. You know, there's no denying that. But to me, this is success. You know, even if you think that this could be something otherwise, then I'm just simply wasting my time. That's where I define as an artist the reason why you should try to explain it out. It's because even your own words can't be taken away from you, no matter what spectrum and time you're in. The written word is powerful, whether it supports your ideas or even questions what you said before. I think it's very important. So if you're tuning in and you have any questions at all, please feel free to make a comment. Try my best to get to the live comments once I post the live. Even if I don't get to them right away, sometimes I can do. If you leave a comment, I really try to follow up with the YouTube there. You know, um, I love my YouTube little community. It feels so real, so raw. Honestly, I've tried a lot to be like a creator, a YouTuber in a way, or an influencer. But it was always just to make art. I've tried a lot of things. I have a cooking channel, TikTok, and whatnot. And things that I feel like I'm good at and can communicate to the world. Because I started out as a photographer too. Still am a photographer, but I'm not like practicing, making money. But it's funny how the art on YouTube, for some reason, really kicked off. It was what was giving me followers, and I'm like, what? My paintings and things that I draw just like out of sheer curiosity is what the world wants from me? That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. I literally opened up a cafe. I tell people this. It's kind of a story, but I opened up a cafe mostly just so I could have the wall space to display my art. I'm good at cooking for sure. Cooking is a practical way to make money. I'd rather cook and feed people to make money than to sell my prints for really, really cheap and make nothing and just be miserable, you know. So that's why I just stuck to cooking and the kitchen life and just was like, hey, if I get to make my art for 1 hour a day, it's great. If I don't, I'm still doing it one way or another. I'll get to it. I'm living, you know. So yeah, that's where I found the whole art. My whole art career to be quite interesting. It is a way for me to blend everything that I've done, everything that I know. I never knew that being an artist was so cool. And this is only the beginning right here. I have so many different ideas for what this visual language can be, different formats, um, as far as materials, and, you know, even mural making. And I really try to visualize this for more than what this is on canvas. Even though the stuff that I'm doing on canvas is meant to be the refinement of everything that I'm doing now, I really do see each work that I do as just, how can this lead to the next one? What were the lessons learned in a way, but then how can I move on from this piece but do something different, but also gives this piece the credibility that it deserves, you know? Sometimes as an artist, your your work is really valued for your progression. It's not even the work that you're doing, right? Because for the gallery and, let's say, if you're a collector, they want to see their investment take on different values and different words. So for people to value that piece of work in a given certain time, they need to see the progression. The progression, in a way, is what dictates the value of the piece. So I could see why progression is very important in art. So this is me respecting that, the fact that there is progression here, and the progression that I'm making does respect the piece from the other. It's not me just ripping it off and kind of creating the same art, but in just like a different color, you know. Even though that's probably what I'll end up doing with this piece. As you can see, I have the reds, warm colors. The next one I might do, it's gonna be like a different color palette, but I'm thinking of, you know, different things. It's like, how can I take this, what's going on here, and elevate it again and again? Because this right here is actually a progression from this right here. And I have tons of other ones here. And some of my YouTube channel, you see clips of other things that I've done. So I really do feel like we were to STEM. the entire segment here from our definition of success as an artist. What's most important to an artist is curiosity rather than passion and talent, right? And then again, our ability to communicate our art and explain what we're doing, contextualize it, why is it important for the artist to try to do that, even though it's one of our pain points. Our ability to contextualize the work we do is painful sometimes because it requires a level of self-worth or discerning our self-worth, and that is very difficult for the artist. That's why we even decide to create and make things, because oftentimes we're running away from defining those values that dictate our lives. Right? Not that art is an escape for most people, it's definitely a way of communicating and expressing and finding our truths. It's not, but I'm saying that it's often difficult for the artist. And that challenge alone should not make us hide behind the work we do. So if that is something that you're finding difficult for yourself, if you're an artist, or even if you're just a professional, finding it difficult to communicate your worth, contextualize your worth, maybe you should really have some honest conversations with yourself and not be afraid. Write this down, journal. It's important. Because the work you do and the work you're meant to do is truly a gift to the world. Even if it's just 30 minutes here in my life, you know. You don't know who you're going to touch today with the work you do. Even if it's for yourself. Just gonna make coffee real quick, I'll be right back.
and I care about ingredients. So finding something you feel good about is trial and error. With Chewy, I can compare brands, read reviews, and figure out what actually works. Heather loves Nate's frozen beef, which is real food with built-in support for digestion and flow. And with everything on auto ship, I never run out. Now feeding Tucker feels like something I don't even have to think about anymore.
And decorating the tree with your one-of-a-kind ornament collection with personalized stockings you hang year after year. The magic is all in the details. Shop original holiday decor made special by Etsy Shop.
far too long away from this area. My strokes are not consistent enough.
Found your old wedding day? Your baby's first onesie? Yep, they can bring back. Bring your keepsakes to Michael's, and I'll expert framers will turn memories into life. Custom framing with Michael's. Everything to create anything.
Anyways, I don't want to end on a note of frustration when progress has been made. And therefore, I will commit to being consistent. Because I love this too much. Sometimes I forget.